Hello, Mr. Harry, and all of my beloved friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So today I would like to explain you about my research proposal. So before that, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Kadek Mentari. You can call me Mentari. I am from 4A class. Alright, everyone. So without further ado, let me to start my research proposal. So for the presenter, please next slide. Alright, everyone. So as you can see on the slide, so here is my research topic. So my research topic is about the influence of YouTube as a media for English learning in improving students' speaking ability in the era of the Industrial Revolution 4.0. Next slide, please. Alright, everyone. So in my research proposal, I will explain you three contents. So my contents is the first one is about research background, and then the second one is about literature review, and then the last one is about research method. Next slide, please. Alright, everyone. So I will explain you one by one. So the first one, I would like to explain you about my research background. So in my research background, there are some part that I will emphasize. So the first one is about introduction and research problem. And then the second one is about limitation of study. And then the third one is about research question. The fourth one is about research purpose. And then the last one is about research significance. Next slide, please. Alright, everyone. So now I would like to explain you about the introduction and research problem. So as we know together, everyone, currently the world has entered the era of the Industrial Revolution 4.0, which is marked by the development of connectivity, interaction, the development of digitalization, artificial intelligence, and virtual technology system in everyday life, right? So based on research by Samosir 2018 state that from WSIS data, it is known that 50% of the world population is connected to the internet. So here we know if our world is connected to the internet. So in the field of education, so technology development provide benefit for student and teacher because technology provide various information that related to the material that can be accessed by teacher and also student. So here, technology used by learning media, because learning media is we need together everyone. Learning media can support our learning process. So one of the learning media can we use in technology digitalization is YouTube. So YouTube, one of the technology-based learning media that can be used to support our learning process, right? Next slide, please. All right, everyone. So here's I would like to explain you about YouTube. So we know YouTube. YouTube is a very flexible learning media and can be accessed anywhere and also anytime. So YouTube also provide a place for everyone, especially learners, to be creative in making learning videos that can be later be useful for everyone, right? So learning English, we know is a very important lesson, especially in preparing the nation's generation. So in learning English, we must master four skills like speaking skill, listening skill, writing skill, and also reading skill. But speaking skill is one of the important skill that must be mastered in learning English as a means to communicate effectively, right? Next slide, please. All right, everyone, as you can see on the slide, here is the limitation of the study about my research background. So the study focuses on knowing the influence of YouTube as a medium for learning English in improving student speaking skill, especially in the era of the Industrial Revolution 4.0. Next slide, please. Alright everyone, so next I would like to explain you about my research question and also my research purpose. So here I have one research question. So my research question is there any influence of YouTube towards student speaking skill in English learning in the era Revolution 4.0? And then my research purpose is to find out any influence of YouTube towards student speaking skill in English learning in the era Revolution 4.0. Next slide please. Alright everyone, so here I would like to explain you about the research significance of my research background. So here there are some research significance for student, teacher, readers, and also researchers. For student and teachers, I hope this can find out the influence of YouTube as an English learning medium in improving student speaking ability in the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0. And for readers, I hope can increase their knowledge, especially regarding the influence of YouTube as an English learning medium in improving student speaking skill in the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0. And also for researchers, I hope that researchers can develop and use this research as a reference for future research. Next slide, please. Alright, everyone. So next, I would like to explain you about the literature review. Next slide, please. So in literature review, there are two parts that I will explain you. So the first one is about theoretical review and also the empirical review. Next slide, please. All right, everyone. So the first one, I would like to explain you about the theoretical review. So as you can see in the slide, so there are some part that I will emphasize you. So the first one is about speaking skill. So here, speaking skill based on the research Sari and Margarana 2019 state that speaking is one of the most important skill to master because it can be used as a means of communicating effectively. And also there are also definition of era revolution 4.0 based on Christiani and Pratnya Dewi 2021 state that the development of information technology and digitalization in the industrial era 4.0 provided many search in learning English, especially to improve student speaking skill. And also the last one is about YouTube. So YouTube is one of the social media that is practical and easy because it provides a popular video sharing service where user can load, watch, and share video clip for free. Is it from Yusuf and Agung 2021? Next slide, please. All right, everyone. So now I would like to explain you about the empirical review. So as you can see on the slide, everyone, so here there are several studies that I use in the previous studies or in the previous research I used from Yusuf and Agung 2021. Connecting research related to the effectiveness of YouTube as an online learning media. And also I used from Sari and Margarana 2019 that examines YouTube as a learning media to improve the student speaking ability in 21st century. And then from Handi Pratama 2020 that conducting research on the use of YouTube as a learning tool in teaching listening skill. All right, next slide, please. All right, everyone. So now I would like to explain you about the research method of my research proposal. Next slide, please. All right, everyone. So as you can see on the slide, there are some parts that I will emphasize you. So the first one is about research design, and then the second one is about research setting, and then the third one is about research subject or population and sample, and then the fourth one is about variable and operational definition of research variable, and then the fifth one about data collection method and instrument, and then the last one is about analysis method and technique. Next slide, please. right, everyone. So I would like to explain you about one by one, so about the research design. So the design of this study used quantitative method, especially in quasi and experimental research that contains treatments. So this research used pre-test and also post-test, and the studies consist of two variables. So the independent variable we call by X, namely the use of YouTube as a media learning, and then the independent variable is Y, namely the student speaking skill, especially in the era of the Industrial Revolution 4.0. Next slide, please. Alright, everyone, as you can see on the slide here, I would like to explain you about the sub-research design. So as you can see in the table, so there are pre-test, treatments, and also post-test. In the pre-test, I hope the teacher gives an English speaking test for students before the teacher teaches using YouTube as a learning media. And in the treatment, the teacher teaches students to speak English through YouTube as a learning media. And then for post-test, the teacher gives an English speaking test to students with the condition that the test introduce yourself and other after teaching using YouTube videos. Next slide, please. Alright, everyone. So here I would like to explain you about the research setting of this research proposal. So the research was conducted at SMA Negeri 3 Sangaraja, which is one of the public school in Bali. So SMA Negeri 3 Sangaraja is located in Penarukan Village, Buleleng District, Buleleng Regency, Bali Province. So here is a picture of the location of the school. Next slide, please. Alright, everyone, so now I would like to explain you about the research subject and population and sample. So as you can see on the slide, everyone, so here I use a subject student of SMA Negeri 3 Singaraja, especially in the 10th grade at SMA Negeri 3 Singaraja. So I use a technique sampling and also technique purposive to get a representative of to support my research. So here, as you can see on the table, X1, this is means by class A in grade class, experimental group, and then X2 for 10B control group. So as you can see on the slide, you can see. Next slide, please. Alright, everyone, so next I would like to explain you about the variable and operational definition of research variable. So here I would like to explain you about the variable of my research. So here I use a variable X. This meant by the independent variable is a variable that affects other variable in the study, which is often called the dependent variable. So here in the study, the independent variable is the use of YouTube as a learning media. And then the second one is variable Y, or we can usually call by dependent variable, is the expected result of the application of the independent variable. So in addition, in the dependent variable is also often referred to as the variable that is influenced by the independent variable. So in this study, the independent variable is student speaking skill. Next slide, please. So the next one, I would like to explain you about the data collection method and also instruments. So this study used two kinds of data collection technique to support this research. So the data collection technique in question include the first one is observation and then the second one is test. So The observation is used to directly observe the condition in the field. That researchers can observe students learning to speak English using YouTube as a learning media. And also researchers can observe the influence of using YouTube as a learning medium in improving students' English speaking skill. And then in the test is used to determine the effect of YouTube as a learning medium in improving students' speaking ability in the era revolution industry 4.0. So especially at SMA Negeri 3 Singaraja. So the test is carried out in two stages. In the first stage is a pre-test was carried out before treatment, and in the second stage, a post-test was carried out after treatment. So in this study, the researchers will use the data collection procedure, which was divided into two stages. So the stage include the first one is researchers use two classes that are considered to have the same ability, namely active and enthusiastic in conducting research. And then the second one is the research give the same material to the two classes at the same time, but the treatment was different. All right, next slide, please. So now I would like to explain you about the analysis method and technique of my research proposal. So as you can see on the slide, everyone, in data analysis, the research use pre-test and also post-test. So score where analysis use normality test, homogeneity test, and also t-test. So normality tests are used by researchers to determine whether the experimental group and control group had the same ability before being given treatment. And then the homogeneity test was used by research to determine whether the two groups, experimental and control group, had homogeneous variance or not. And then the last one is hypothesis test, or we call usually t-test. Researchers use this one to prove the result of the research conducted. So in this study, researchers used two hypotheses, including, so the first one is uh, there is there is significant influence of using YouTube as a medium for English learning to improve student speaking skill in the era Revolution 4.0. And then for HO is there is no influence on using YouTube as a medium for learning English to improve student speaking skill in the era Revolution 4.0. Next slide, please. Alright, everyone, this is the research time and schedule of my research proposal. So as you can see on the slide, this is my schedule time to build my research proposal. Next slide, please. Alright, everyone, I think that's all from me about my explanation, especially my presentation about my research proposal. I hope you enjoy with my video. Thank you and have a great day, everyone.